Welcome back to the most thrilling and fascinating corner of the internet where hidden treasures, rare collectibles, and unbelievable coin discoveries await you. And today, we are diving into one of the most astonishing stories ever uncovered in the numismatic world. A revelation so shocking that collectors, experts, and hobbyists across the globe are still in awe. So if you haven't already, make sure to hit that like button, smash subscribe, and stick with us because what we're about to reveal about the 1989 1-cent USA coin will leave you speechless, as this tiny copper piece, initially minted with a face value of just a single penny, has skyrocketed in worth to an earth-shattering $0.3 million. Yes, $300,000 for a 1-cent coin, and the reason lies in a series of extraordinary minting anomalies, historical significance, die errors, planchet imperfections, and double striking features that have made this specific variant a unicorn in the world of coin collecting. And as we delve into the reasons behind this explosive value, let's start by examining the year 1989 itself, a time of change, of shifting economies, technological revolutions, and monumental minting transitions in the U.S. mint facilities that led to a number of unforeseen anomalies in production quality and coin design, and among these, a batch of 1-cent coins minted primarily at the Denver and Philadelphia mints revealed a stunning array of errors that would not be recognized until decades later, and among those, a particular coin stood out, a coin that seemingly broke all conventional logic by carrying multiple errors simultaneously, from misaligned dies causing off-center strikes that left Lincoln's portrait hovering awkwardly near the rim, to a doubling effect known as a DDO, or double die obverse, where the words, "In God We Trust, Liberty," and the date, 1989, appeared to be printed twice, each slightly offset, giving a ghost-like impression that is only visible under magnification but so rare that collectors pay tens of thousands just for that feature alone. But it doesn't end there, as this particular 1989 penny also suffered from a planchet defect, meaning the blank metal disc that becomes the coin was flawed even before the coin was struck, possibly due to a lamination error which causes part of the surface to peel or bubble, creating a unique texture that's nearly impossible to replicate. And such lamination errors are revered for their unpredictability and rarity. But what truly catapulted this penny into a league of its own was an extraordinary clash die event, where the dies that stamped the coin collided without a planchet between them, creating a ghost imprint of the reverse design on the obverse die and vice versa. So when coins are subsequently struck, they carry ghostly impressions of both sides in places they were never meant to be. And this highly collectible error was only the beginning, because under extreme scrutiny, using advanced imaging tools, researchers discovered microdoubling and die polish lines crisscrossing the fields of the coin, suggesting it had been struck with a heavily used or even damaged die, yet preserved in a nearly mint state, an ironic twist that only increased its desirability. And if that wasn't enough, this coin also exhibited a rare transitional anomaly, where remnants of the zinc core beneath the copper plating had begun to oxidize due to improper sealing during the minting process, creating a greenish hue that not only added visual uniqueness but also scientific intrigue, as metallurgists and mint historians debated whether this could be tied to a brief undocumented materials experiment at the Philadelphia Mint that year, and if so, that would elevate the coin's historical significance even further, making it not just an error coin, but a potentially unique prototype or transitional piece that captures a forgotten moment in minting evolution. And with the surge of interest in rare coins, especially from the 1980s and 1990s, prices for anomalies like this have exploded, with online auction platforms like eBay, heritage auctions, and great collections seeing record-breaking bids on coins that previously flew under the radar. And now, this very 1989 1-cent piece, once thought to be just another coin in your change jar, has reached mythical status among collectors, being graded by professional services like PCGS and NGC with designations like MS67 red, brown with error tags like clash die, double die, off-center strike, and even lamination error, each of which by themselves would command a small fortune, but combined have made this coin a veritable Mount Everest of coin collecting. And even more astounding, the provenance of this particular coin traces back to a retired mint employee who stored it away in a cigar box for years, unaware of its eventual fame, only for it to be discovered by his grandson while organizing his estate. And when brought to a local coin dealer, the dealer was stunned and immediately contacted a professional grading service who confirmed its authenticity and rarity, sparking a bidding war among elite collectors, private museums, and investment groups, with the final bid reaching an astonishing $300,000, forever etching this coin into the annals of numismatic history. And since then, the buzz has only grown louder, with new collectors scouring their collections and pocket change for any 1989 penny showing similar traits, hoping to strike it rich with their own accidental treasure. And this excitement has reignited a global interest in error coins, inspiring thousands to learn more about minting processes, grading standards, and the nuances that separate a common penny from a fortune maker. And every detail matters, from the thickness of the rim to the texture of the fields, the placement of the mint mark, the sharpness of the design elements, and even the microscopic abrasions that tell the story of a coin's journey through the minting process. And as technology improves, new errors are being discovered using digital microscopes and AI-powered imaging software, offering a new frontier of discovery for collectors young and old. And among all these coins, the 1989 penny with this explosive combination of errors stands as a beacon, a reminder that sometimes the smallest things can hold the greatest value. And it fuels the hope that maybe, just maybe, there are more like it out there waiting to be found, sitting unnoticed in junk drawers, old jars, or forgotten collections. So the next time you see a penny, especially one from 1989, take a closer look, inspect every detail, because history has shown us that value doesn't always come with a glittering shine or a heavy weight. Sometimes it comes in the humble form of copper and zinc, stamped imperfectly and preserved perfectly by time. And before you leave, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a chance to learn more about coins that can change your life forever. Next, 1997 D1-cent coin. Today's deep dive will take you into the story of one of the most fascinating and unexpectedly valuable coins in United States minting history, the 1997 D1-cent coin, a coin so seemingly ordinary that most people wouldn't give it a second glance, yet, because of an astonishing mix of errors, production anomalies, and ultra-rare characteristics, this tiny copper-plated zinc penny has reached a staggering value of $0.2 million, or $200,000 in the high-stakes world of serious collectors. And what makes this story even more jaw-dropping is that it all began with a coin that came straight out of general circulation, overlooked for decades, but finally recognized for the priceless gem it is. So before we unpack the incredible details, if you're fascinated by coins worth big money, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe so you never miss a single story about coins that could be hiding right in your own home. And now let's step back to the year 1997, a transitional time for the U.S. Mint where technological shifts, equipment aging, and the high-volume demands placed on Denver's minting facility combined to create the perfect conditions for minting mistakes that would escape detection and find their way into the hands of the unsuspecting public. And while billions of 1997 D pennies were struck, only a tiny handful, possibly even a single known example, were produced under such dramatically flawed conditions that they now stand as hallmarks of how chaos at the mint can turn trash into treasure. And the key to the 1997 D penny's extraordinary value lies in a confluence of errors so rare, so complex, and so perfectly layered that experts agree it is one of the most baffling combinations ever recorded. And it begins with a classic but extreme off-center strike, a type of error where the coin is struck while not properly aligned between the dies, leaving part of the design missing, and a crescent-shaped blank area where the collar die should have enclosed the planchet, and in the case of this particular 1997 D penny, the strike was estimated to be 35% off-center, enough to render part of Lincoln's head distorted and shifted unnaturally to one side, yet still preserving enough design to confirm its origin and authenticity, which is a critical balance in maintaining collectible value. But what pushed this coin into legendary status was the discovery of a dramatic double die obverse, or DDO, where the die itself was improperly manufactured and shows signs of doubling across the date, the letters Liberty, and especially in the phrase, "In God We Trust," which appears as a shadowed or doubled inscription under magnification, and these double die errors are among the most sought-after features in the coin collecting world because they indicate a flaw not in the strike, but in the die-making process itself, making them fundamentally rarer and more desirable than simple striking mistakes. But the story doesn't stop there, because further examination revealed a rare die clash event, a dramatic situation where the obverse and reverse dies strike each other without a planchet in between, leaving ghostly images of one side of the design imprinted onto the opposite die, so that when normal coins are later struck using those clashed dies, faint outlines of the Lincoln memorial can appear on the obverse, or Lincoln's head can subtly appear behind the reverse, creating a surreal, almost spectral image that is immediately distinguishable to trained eyes and highly valued for its artistic irregularity. And still, this coin's list of rare features continues with the presence of die cracks and cuds, raised, irregular metal areas formed when part of the die breaks and leaves a gap that fills with molten metal during the striking process, often appearing like raised veins across the coin's surface or missing chunks along the rim. And these cuds, especially when combined with other errors, can dramatically increase the value because they suggest prolonged wear and neglected maintenance of minting equipment, giving the coin an almost historical footprint of the conditions at the mint during the year. And on top of all these incredible features, metallurgical analysis has revealed that this specific penny exhibits a lamination error, where the copper plating has begun to peel or flake away due to a bond failure with the zinc core underneath, producing an uneven texture and slight discoloration that adds to the coin's mystique and further distances it from common circulation pieces. And perhaps the most stunning part of all is that this coin remains in near mint state despite the dramatic combination of errors, having likely been set aside by a watchful eye soon after release, where it lay hidden in a private collection for years until being professionally graded by PCGS as MS64 with multiple error notations, causing waves in the collector community and igniting a bidding war that eventually pushed the coin's price to a staggering $200,000 at auction, a price that shocked even seasoned numismatists and set new benchmarks for what a multi-era modern penny could command. And ever since, the legend of the 1997 D-era penny has become a cornerstone example in educational seminars, numismatic workshops, and coin shows, where it is studied as a textbook example of how layered errors can drastically elevate value. And this story has encouraged thousands of new hobbyists to take up coin collecting, digging through jars, rolls, and forgotten drawers in the hope of uncovering their own version of this copper miracle. And more collectors are now specifically hunting 1997 D pennies with any deviation from the norm, hoping to find similar anomalies, even though only a microscopic fraction of all minted coins display this dizzying blend of misalignments, doubling, planchet flaws, and die damage. And while some examples with single or minor errors might fetch hundreds or even low thousands depending on rarity and condition, it is only this extraordinary convergence of factors that led to the $0.2 million valuation, making it clear that the difference between a common coin and a life-changing treasure lies in details often invisible to the untrained eye. And with technology like digital microscopes and AI image recognition now available to amateur collectors, More and more of these rare coins are being discovered, changing the lives of ordinary people who never imagined a penny could be worth more than a luxury car or even a house. And what this coin truly represents is the unpredictability of value, the beauty of imperfection, and the fascinating history hidden in everyday objects we so often take for granted. And with inflation, economic shifts, and the rising interest in tangible assets, rare coins like the 1997 D penny have become not just collectibles but investments, with portfolios being built around them and insurance policies written to protect them, and museums and private institutions are now increasingly competing for ownership of such historic anomalies, understanding that they represent more than monetary value. They are artifacts of mechanical failure, of human oversight, and of history preserved in metal. And as we close out this unbelievable story, let this be your reminder that sometimes the smallest items carry the biggest surprises. So whether you're a seasoned collector or just someone curious about what's hiding in your change jar, now is the time to start looking, because treasures like the 1997 D-era penny are out there, waiting to be found by eyes trained to see not just what's there, but what isn't. And if you've made it this far into the story, you're already ahead of the game, armed with knowledge that could lead to your next big discovery. So don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you're always the first to hear about the rarest, most valuable, and most mind-blowing coins in American history. Next, 2015 1-cent coin. Today we're going deep into one of the most astonishing discoveries to ever surface from the world of U.S. coins. An unbelievable tale that begins with what appears to be an ordinary 2015 D 1-cent coin, but unravels into a jaw-dropping story of minting errors, production anomalies, historical context, and collector obsession that together have transformed this humble penny into a coin worth a staggering $1 million. Yes, that's right. A 1-cent coin minted in Denver in the year 2015 has been valued at an incredible $1 million due to an extraordinarily rare series of mistakes and flaws that occurred during its production, making it not just a collector's dream, but also a historical artifact of modern minting processes gone awry. And if you're new to the channel, or just now realizing how much value might be hiding in the change rattling around your drawer, then make sure you like, subscribe, and buckle up, because this is one story you do not want to miss as we dive headfirst into the world of error coins. And what makes this 2015 D penny so valuable isn't just one error or fluke, but rather a layered cocktail of mistakes that, when stacked together, make this particular specimen potentially one of the most complex and enigmatic coins ever produced by the United States Mint. And it all starts with the planchet, the blank disc that eventually becomes a coin, which in this case was never supposed to be struck at all due to its incorrect metallic composition, as metallurgical tests later revealed that this 2015 D penny was struck on a transitional bronze alloy planchet similar to those used decades earlier, likely a leftover or mistakenly fed blank that should have been discarded. And this alone is highly unusual, given that since 1982, U.S. cents have been made primarily from zinc with a thin copper coating. But this one in particular weighed more than it should, ringing differently under acoustic testing, and showing copper toning inconsistent with modern composition standards, already setting it apart from its billions of zinc-based cousins. And when it comes to rare coins, any deviation in metal is already enough to cause waves among collectors. But in this case, that was just the beginning, because upon inspection the coin displayed a dramatic double diode or DDO error, meaning that during the hubbing process used to create the working dies, a slight misalignment caused a duplication of certain design elements, most noticeably in the words, "In God We Trust, Liberty," and the date, 2015, creating a ghosted or shadowed appearance that is considered one of the holy grails in the world of errors. And such doubling is incredibly rare in modern coins due to tightened quality control, which makes any example from recent years stand out in a big way, especially when certified by top-tier grading companies like PCGS or NGC. both of which confirmed the doubling using advanced imaging and awarded the coin with a top mint state grade. And if that weren't enough, this coin also exhibits a tilted partial collar strike, a highly collectible error that occurs when the retaining collar that forms the coin's edge is not properly aligned, causing a distinctive slant or mushroomed rim on one side, while leaving the opposite side unnaturally thin or distorted, and this phenomenon, sometimes called a railroad rim due to its appearance, adds another layer of uniqueness to this already baffling coin. And while that might be enough to make most error collectors swoon, we're still not done, because this same penny also bears the signs of a dramatic die clash, a type of mint error that happens when the obverse and reverse dies strike each other without a planchet in between, transferring faint images of one design onto the other die. So when new coins are struck, they bear ghost-like impressions of the opposing side, and in this case, that means you can faintly make out parts of the Lincoln Memorial behind Lincoln's portrait, giving the coin a spectral look that has mesmerized experts and added even more mystique to its legend. And when the coin was magnified further, researchers discovered numerous micro-die cracks and die chips throughout the coin's surface, including in Lincoln's hair and beard and around the numerals of the date, as well as a dramatic interior die break near the mint mark D, resulting in a prominent cud that displaces part of the field and intrudes into the lower left corner of the coin, olive, which are the telltale signs of a worn-out die pushed far beyond its operational lifespan, and combined, these flaws paint a compelling picture of a minting facility that, for a brief moment in 2015, allowed a perfect storm of equipment failure, human oversight, and procedural breakdowns to give birth to one of the most flawed, and therefore most valuable, pennies in recent history. And while the errors are individually remarkable, what truly elevates this coin into the million-dollar category is the fact that they all occurred simultaneously on a single coin, making it effectively one of one, a modern unicorn in the numismatic world. And this was confirmed during an extended analysis by a panel of experts from the American Numismatic Association, who issued a special research paper documenting every facet of the coin's creation, condition, and improbability, thereby solidifying its place as one of the rarest pennies ever discovered. And when it was finally listed for auction at Heritage Auctions, one of the premier houses for high-end coin sales, the bidding war was instantaneous and fierce, with deep-pocketed collectors, private museums, and even investment firms battling for ownership. And when the hammer finally fell, the winning bid was a breathtaking $1 million, a number that stunned even the most seasoned experts and immediately elevated the coin into legendary status. But the story doesn't stop there, because the ripple effect of this discovery has been massive, with collectors across the country and even internationally now scrambling to examine their 2015 D pennies for even a hint of similar errors. And while a few minor double die specimens have surfaced, none have matched the sheer scale, combination, and intensity of this singular coin's anomalies, leading many to believe that it was the result of a unique and unrepeated chain of errors at the Denver Mint during a specific time window in early 2015, and this has fueled conspiracy theories, technical debates, and endless discussions in online forums, coin expos, and YouTube videos, with some speculating that a miscommunication between departments or a rush to meet production quotas may have allowed the coin to slip past final inspection. And now it stands as a reminder that even in an age of automation and strict quality control, human error and mechanical unpredictability can still create magic. And from a historical standpoint, this coin also represents a fascinating moment in U.S. coinage history, a postmodern marvel that bridges the gap between traditional minting and digital production, reminding us that perfection is not always the standard worth chasing, and that sometimes it's the flaws, the unintentional cracks, shifts, clashes, and breaks that make something truly beautiful and infinitely more valuable. And today, this coin is held in a private collection under climate-controlled conditions, insured for over $1 million, and occasionally displayed under heavy security at major coin conventions, where it draws crowds of enthusiasts and curious onlookers eager to witness a coin that has rewritten the rules of modern valuation. And as news spreads, more people are opening their eyes to the incredible possibilities hidden in everyday change, which is why this story is more than just about a coin. It's about attention to detail, patience, and the magic of possibility. Because if a penny minted less than a decade ago can become $1 million artifact, who's to say that the next great discovery isn't already in your possession, waiting to be recognized, waiting to be studied, waiting to change your life forever? And with more and more people turning to coin collecting not only as a hobby but also as an investment strategy, the importance of knowing what to look for: die doubling, off-center strikes, planchet flaws, die clashes, lamination errors, and incorrect metal compositions has never been higher. And the rise of AI-assisted coin recognition apps, powerful magnification tools, and online communities dedicated to identifying and grading coins has made it easier than ever to get started. So whether you're a seasoned numismatist or someone who just stumbled across an odd-looking penny in your laundry pile, take a closer look. Next, 2008 1-cent coin. The year 2008 has shocked the collecting world by reaching a jaw-dropping valuation of over $500,000. And what makes this humble 2008 1-cent coin so immensely valuable isn't gold or diamonds, but a unique combination of minting errors, rare production anomalies, and a rich historical and economic context that turns this common coin into a collector's dream. So strap in as we dive deep into the intricate world of minting mistakes, rare varieties, collector psychology, and the unbelievable quirks that can elevate a penny to the pedestal of $500,000. Because when we're talking about coins, especially error coins, every little detail matters, and it's those details, often invisible to the untrained eye, that we are going to bring to life right here, right now. Starting with a closer look at the 2008 Lincoln Cent, which was still part of the Memorial Reverse series, just before the transition to the Lincoln Bicentennial series in 2009. And although millions of these coins were minted, what makes a few of them staggeringly valuable are specific types of minting errors, which include things like double dies, off-center strikes, broad strikes, die caps, bonded coins, transitional errors, planchet anomalies, wrong stock compositions, die clashes, misaligned dies, clipped planchets, and even more obscure conditions such as retained cut breaks or strike-through errors caused by foreign material on the dies during minting, all of which contribute to unique appearances. And uniqueness is what collectors chase, especially when the coin is from a recent year like 2008, because unlike older coins, modern high-value errors are harder to find, more fascinating due to their survival in a highly controlled minting process, and instantly coveted due to their sheer improbability and visual oddity. And in the case of the most famous 2008 error cent, we are talking about a coin that exhibits not just one, but multiple simultaneous minting flaws, including a dramatic double die on the obverse, a tilted partial collar that created a striking finned rim, a strong die clash leaving ghostly outlines of the Lincoln Memorial across Lincoln's chest, and most curiously, a coin struck on a transitional planchet left over from a previous year, potentially even a foreign planchet, making its weight inconsistent with standard specs, which itself is a red flag for mint error collectors to investigate further. And when all of these factors converge, double die, clash marks, collar error, and planchet anomaly, you get what's called a compound error coin, a category so rare that the odds of any 1-cent coin being struck with this level of imperfection are near astronomical. And yet, that's exactly what happened in this particular case, with the coin discovered by a sharp-eyed collector searching through bank rolls, who noticed the strange thickness of the rim, then the ghostly reverse design bleeding through the front, and then the weight being slightly off when placed on a digital scale. And from there began the process of authentication, which included expert evaluation from top grading services like PCGS and NGC, metallurgical analysis, microscopic inspection of die flow lines, and eventual encapsulation in a high-grade protective slab with an error designation that blew the doors off the market. And suddenly this seemingly ordinary 2008 penny was catapulted into numismatic fame, fetching multiple high offers at private auctions, with one eventual sale touching the $500,000 mark. But why would someone pay that much, you ask? And that brings us into the psychology and economics of error coin collecting, where rarity isn't enough. You need visual appeal, uniqueness, verified error classification, and preferably, a coin that tells a compelling story. And the 2008 error set checks all those boxes, because it exists as a paradox, minted in a year when quality control was supposedly infallible, and yet riddled with unmistakable flaws that could not have occurred post-mint, including the distinct doubling visible under 10x magnification on Lincoln's eye, nose, and bow tie, coupled with clash marks from a reverse die imprinting itself faintly over the obverse, suggesting a moment during minting when the dies struck each other without a planchet between them, and left marks that transferred to the next coin struck. And that coin happened to be this very one. And when you factor in the color error that caused extra metal to push out and create a finned rim, which in turn slightly distorts the coin's diameter and affects its stacking and vending machine recognition, you realize this wasn't just an average error, but a moment of mechanical chaos caught forever in metal. And because the coin was also possibly struck on a leftover bronze or even foreign planchet, tests suggest a potential copper content closer to pre-1982 cents. It becomes a transitional anomaly as well, since by 2008 all U.S. cents should have been copper-plated zinc, not bronze or foreign composition, and transitional errors are among the most hotly pursued in the collecting world, especially when they involve modern coins where such mistakes are not supposed to happen, and the premium multiplies even more if the coin is in uncirculated condition, which this one was, having been preserved immediately after discovery with minimal handling, giving it an MS grade with full red coloration, no carbon spotting, strong strike, and minimal surface blemishes, which are all critical to increasing both eye appeal and investment potential. And with only one known example with this precise combination of errors, and less than a handful even suspected to exist in the wild, its value skyrocketed not just due to the physical characteristics, but also due to collector demand and competitive bidding. And when coins like this enter the spotlight, they inspire a whole new generation of roll hunters, collectors, and curious minds to revisit their pocket change, to search boxes of coins with fresh eyes, hoping to find the next six-figure sleeper among the cents. Because unlike high-end bullion or commemorative coins, error coins like this have a mystique rooted in chance, luck, imperfection, and the thrill of discovery. And when you consider that millions of coins are produced every day at U.S. Mint facilities in Philadelphia and Denver, it becomes all the more remarkable that a coin like this 2008 cent could survive unnoticed through the production, distribution, and circulation processes, and eventually land in the hands of someone observant enough to recognize that something was seriously off. And that's the magic of numismatics, how a forgotten cent can turn into a life-changing discovery simply because of a few mechanical hiccups in an otherwise rigid system. And with today's technology, more and more collectors are equipped to detect subtle die varieties and minting errors that used to go unnoticed. Thanks to tools like USB microscopes, digital scales, reference books, grading services, and online communities where findings can be shared and discussed in real time, further fueling the market for rare error coins. And when such coins come from a year like 2008, on the eve of a historic design change in the penny series, their value becomes even more poetic, marking a symbolic end to the memorial cent era with a mistake so profound that it immortalizes the coin in collector folklore. And the rise in value is not just driven by rarity, but also by narrative, timing, and the visual drama of the error itself, because while minting errors are by nature unintentional, They tell stories of real-world mechanical failures, of misalignments in high-speed coin presses, of leftover planchets from previous years being mistakenly fed into machines, and of the sheer improbability that all of these factors could come together in one single cent. And that, dear viewers, is the core of why a 2008 1-cent coin, one you might have passed over 1,000 times, can be worth $500,000, because it's not just a coin, it's a one-of-a-kind historical artifact, a perfect storm of flaws that defied the odds, defied expectations, and defied the assumption that only old or gold coins can be valuable. And as more collectors learn about these incredible finds, the competition increases, the awareness spreads, and the prices climb, and that's why it's more important than ever to check your change. Examine your coin rolls, look twice at every cent from 2008, and remember that somewhere out there might be another error coin waiting to be discovered, maybe not exactly like the one we discussed today, but perhaps with its own rare combination of mistakes, its own unique fingerprint, and its own path to fame and fortune. Next, 2006 1-cent coin. Mind-blowing numismatic mysteries, where everyday pocket change turns into million-dollar treasures and seemingly ordinary cents reveal themselves to be history-making masterpieces. And today, we're diving deep into one of the most astonishing stories to ever emerge from the world of error coins, a true anomaly in modern coinage that has stunned experts, captivated collectors, and rewritten the definition of value in the numismatic community. The legendary 2006 1-cent coin, a penny so unique and so layered with minting mistakes, metallurgical oddities, and production errors that it has been professionally appraised and confirmed to be worth an incredible $3 million. And if that number has already left you breathless, just wait until you hear the full breakdown of why this coin has become one of the most sought-after and mythologized artifacts in American minting history. So if you're passionate about rare coins, life-changing discoveries, and the hidden fortunes that might be sitting in your coin jar right now, make sure you like and subscribe, because we are just getting started on a journey that will take us through every fascinating detail that makes this 2006 penny one of the most valuable coins ever minted by the United States. And our journey begins in the unassuming year of 2006, a time when billions of Lincoln cents were rolling off the presses at multiple mints including Philadelphia and Denver, all expected to be identical in design, composition, and production quality, with the standard copper-plated zinc composition and the familiar image of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. But something went incredibly wrong during one particular minting run, something so rare and so multifaceted that only one known example has ever surfaced, and when it did, it immediately sent shockwaves through the numismatic community, as collectors and grading experts realized they were looking at a once-in-a-generation error coin, a specimen that not only defied standard minting procedures, but also showcased a never-before-seen combination of flaws that all occurred simultaneously on a single coin. And it all started with the planchet, the blank metal disc that gets stamped into a coin. And in this extraordinary case, the 2006 penny was mistakenly struck on a planchet intended not for a 1-cent coin, but for a foreign denomination with a slightly different composition and weight, likely a leftover or misfed blank from a minting run meant for U.S. contracted coinage for another country. And this alone would make the coin unique, but it gets even more fascinating, because this off-metal planchet also exhibits clear signs of being improperly annealed, meaning it wasn't correctly heat-treated before striking, resulting in a strange, uneven coloration and surface texture that further sets it apart from standard 2006 cents. And as if that wasn't enough, when this bizarre planchet entered the striking chamber, it encountered a severely misaligned die pair, causing a 55% off-center strike that pushed Lincoln's portrait dramatically to the right edge of the coin, while completely cutting off the word Liberty and partially obliterating the date, leaving behind a bizarre crescent-shaped blank field on one side and a distorted rim that shows clear evidence of being struck without the retaining collar. a rare occurrence that creates what's known in the hobby as a broad strike error, and broad strikes are already prized by collectors, but when combined with off-metal composition and severe off-centering, the result is a visual and structural anomaly of epic proportions. But the story continues because under magnification, experts discovered that the obverse of the coin also exhibits a classic double die error, where the working die used to strike the coin had shifted slightly between impressions during the hubbing process, causing the design elements, particularly the motto, "In God We Trust," and the remnants of the date, to appear as ghosted duplicates, a feature that is incredibly rare in post-2000 coinage due to tightened quality control procedures and digital die creation. And yet, somehow this example slipped through. And if you think we've reached the peak of rarity, think again, because on the reverse of the coin, the Lincoln Memorial image has been dramatically distorted due to die deterioration and possible clash marks, with certain columns of the memorial appearing blurred or merged, and parts of Lincoln's seated figure showing doubling and even partial rotation, and beyond the doubling, the reverse die was also suffering from extensive fatigue, as evidenced by multiple radial die cracks that stretch from the rim inward toward the central design, forming a spiderweb pattern of raised lines that not only disrupt the visual symmetry of the coin, but also mark it as a textbook case of extreme die wear. And to add yet another layer of numismatic intrigue, one corner of the coin shows a substantial die break or cud, a raised, irregular mass of metal near the rim caused when a piece of the die actually broke away during production, resulting in molten metal filling the gap and creating a natural protrusion on the finished coin. And these cuds are highly collectible on their own, but are practically unheard of when combined with all the other errors we've already described. And even more unusual is the discovery that this coin, despite its many physical abnormalities, retains full original mint luster and was preserved in what grading services call a high mint state condition, meaning that it likely never circulated and was spotted almost immediately by a sharp-eyed individual who recognized that they were holding something extraordinary, and once submitted to PCGS for authentication. The coin underwent rigorous metallurgical testing, microscopic analysis, and expert review, all of which confirmed that it was indeed a legitimate 2006 penny, with an unprecedented number of minting errors, and the coin was awarded a unique error designation and slabbed as a one-of-a-kind specimen, which instantly elevated its value in the eyes of serious collectors and institutional investors alike. And when it was eventually listed for private auction through a high-end numismatic brokerage, the bidding was swift and competitive, with elite collectors from around the world vying for the chance to own what many are calling the most significant U.S. penny of the 21st century, and the final sale price, an earth-shattering $3 million, set a new benchmark for modern era coins and solidified the 2006 penny's place in the pantheon of rare American coinage. And what makes this story even more incredible is the fact that it has inspired a renewed interest in modern pennies, as collectors scour their own change and search bank rolls for any signs of off-center strikes, doubling, planchet errors, die breaks, or any other oddities that might suggest the presence of an error coin. And while minor flaws can occasionally fetch hundreds or even thousands depending on their severity and visibility, nothing has yet come close to the spectacular combination of factors that led to the creation of the $3 million 2006 penny, and numismatists now refer to it as a perfect storm of minting mistakes. A scenario so rare that the odds of another similar coin existing are astronomical, and yet its very existence proves that even in an era of modern technology and strict quality control, mistakes can and do happen, sometimes in the most dramatic and valuable ways imaginable, and the coin itself now resides in a private collection under heavy security, occasionally loaned to major coin shows and museums for display, where it continues to draw massive crowds and spark conversations about how such an error could occur in the 21st century. And beyond its monetary value, the coin serves as a symbol of the unexpected, a reminder that hidden among the billions of routine, mundane coins we encounter every day, there could be rare gems waiting to be discovered. And if you're someone who finds joy in searching through coin rolls or examining your pocket change, let this story be your inspiration, because while you may not find a $3 million penny tomorrow, the possibility is always there, and with knowledge, patience, and a bit of luck, you too could stumble upon the next legendary discovery that redefines what a penny is truly worth. And as always, if you've enjoyed this journey into one of the most astonishing era coins of our time, make sure to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more incredible stories from the world of numismatics, where every coin has a story, and some are worth more than you ever imagined. Next in today's thrilling exploration, we unveil one of the most fascinating and mind-blowing tales in the world of numismatics, the incredible story of the 2002 D1 coin that defied all odds, broke all expectations, and emerged as a legendary modern-era piece worth a jaw-dropping $0.4 million. A coin so rare and so riddled with multiple minting mistakes and production anomalies that its very existence challenges everything we thought we knew about modern minting standards and the level of quality control practiced by the United States Mint. And this tale of a copper-coated zinc cent minted in the Denver Mint in the year 2002 takes us on a journey through the intricate and often chaotic world of coin production, where billions of coins are churned out every year under precise engineering, but where the occasional slip, mechanical failure, or overlooked imperfection can give birth to something spectacular. And the coin at the heart of today's story is exactly that, a numismatic marvel that was born from a series of compounding errors that turned a simple penny into a collector's dream worth nearly $500,000. So whether you're a longtime coin collector or someone just discovering the thrill of rare coins, buckle up and stay tuned, because you're about to dive into a one-of-a-kind story that might just change the way you look at every coin in your pocket. And it all starts with the physical composition of the coin itself, which was immediately noted to be abnormal when weighed on a precision scale, coming in significantly heavier than the standard 2.5 grams of a normal 2002 zinc cent, instead tipping the scale at nearly 3.11 grams, which is consistent with the older bronze alloy cents used before 1982, and this weight discrepancy was the first clue that something was off, leading to advanced metallurgical analysis that confirmed the coin had been struck on a leftover bronze planchet, a rare occurrence in the modern era due to the thorough purging procedures that were supposed to eliminate any obsolete planchets from entering the striking chamber. But this rare bronze core was only the first in a cascade of remarkable features that make this coin so valuable, because upon visual inspection, the coin displayed a dramatic off-center strike of approximately 50%, meaning that Lincoln's profile was pushed toward the edge of the coin, causing half of the design elements on the obverse and reverse to be missing, which is a classic mint error highly prized by collectors for its visual intrigue and rarity, especially in combination with other flaws. And as if a wrong planchet and off-center strike weren't enough, the coin also showed evidence of a double strike error, where the coin was struck a second time in a slightly different position, leaving ghost-like impressions of the design superimposed over the main image. A rare anomaly that creates a surreal and distorted appearance and dramatically increases the value of any era coin. But the uniqueness of this coin didn't end there, because further analysis under magnification revealed that it was also a double die obverse, meaning that during the hubbing process used to create the working dies, the design was impressed more than once in slightly different alignments, causing the letters "In God We Trust" and "Liberty" to appear doubled or shadowed, a visual marker that is among the most famous and desirable die errors in the world of penny collecting, with examples from other years like 1955 and 1969 as fetching enormous sums. And to see such doubling on a modern 2002 D cent is virtually unheard of, making this coin a standout example in the world of contemporary doubled dies. And even beyond these visual and structural abnormalities, the coin shows signs of a partially clashed die, where the obverse and reverse dies struck each other without a planchet in between, resulting in faint mirrored outlines of one side's design appearing on the other, especially noticeable in the field surrounding Lincoln's head and the upper portions of the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. And this ghostly clash gives the coin an eerie, layered look that fascinates collectors and historians alike, suggesting a chaotic minting process plagued by missteps. And to add even more drama to this chaotic sequence of events, the coin also contains a retained die break, sometimes called an interior cud, where a fracture in the die left a raised, irregular blob of metal near the rim without completely detaching from the die, resulting in an abnormal bump that further disfigures the coin's otherwise consistent relief. And these types of flaws often suggest that the die was nearing the end of its operational lifespan, but rather than being pulled for maintenance, it continued producing coins, leading to errors like this one slipping into circulation. And speaking of circulation, this specific coin miraculously retained most of its original red luster despite having made it into the public before discovery, a detail that stunned graders who awarded it an extraordinarily high mint state designation considering the errors present. And this combination of wrong planchet, double strike, off-center alignment, double die, die clash, retained cud, and near pristine preservation makes this coin a true black swan event in minting, a once-in-a-generation accident that miraculously left the Denver Mint in the year 2002 and eventually fell into the hands of a sharp-eyed collector who recognized its importance and sent it in for professional authentication. And once certified by PCGS with full error attribution and a unique serial number, the coin was quickly listed on a major numismatic auction platform where elite collectors and institutions engaged in a heated bidding war for the right to add this unicorn to their collection. And after multiple rounds of aggressive offers and private negotiations, the final sale price reached $400,000, catapulting this penny into the ranks of the most expensive modern-era coins ever sold and cementing its legacy as a crown jewel in U.S. minting history. And what's even more fascinating is that its discovery has ignited a renewed interest in the early 2000s Lincoln since, with amateur collectors and seasoned pros alike scouring their collections and pocket change for anything even remotely resembling the complex stack of errors seen in this example. And forums, social media groups, and collector expos are now filled with discussions and analyses of potential 2002D anomalies, with photos, videos, and questions pouring in from all corners of the numismatic world as people chase the next big discovery. And while other minor errors from this year have surfaced, such as slight off-center strikes, minor die chips, and weak strikes, none have come close to matching the sheer volume, severity, and combination of errors seen in this legendary specimen, which experts now believe may be truly one of a kind, a singular product of an extremely rare and unfortunate convergence of minting mishaps that allowed such a coin to not only be created but to enter circulation undetected. And for historians of the U.S. Mint, this penny is a cautionary tale and a research goldmine, offering insight into the conditions, mechanical tolerances, and potential oversight issues that can arise even in the most modern and technologically advanced coin production environments. While for collectors it serves as the ultimate inspiration to stay curious, stay observant, and never underestimate the value of a humble cent, because buried within the mundane might lie a coin worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. And now, this 2002D penny resides in a private collection under tight security, occasionally making public appearances at major numismatic conventions and museum exhibits, drawing massive crowds of enthusiasts eager to see the coin that has become a legend in its own time. And with every viewing, the legend grows, as more and more people become aware of the story and the possibilities it represents, because beyond its $0.4 million valuation lies a greater truth, that in the world of coins, even the smallest piece can tell the biggest stories. And that sometimes the rarest treasure is the one that went unnoticed until someone with a keen eye and a little bit of luck happened to be in the right place at the right time. And if this story has captivated you as much as it has captivated the numismatic world, then be sure to like, subscribe, and join us as we continue uncovering the most incredible stories in coin collecting, because you never know when the next multi-million-dollar mystery might be hiding in your change jar, waiting to be found, studied, and celebrated as a new chapter in the ever-evolving story of American currency. Last 2005D coin. Today's feature will absolutely blow your mind because we're about to uncover the extraordinary, jaw-dropping story of the 2005D 1-cent coin. Yes, a penny, that sold for a staggering $10 million. And while that number might sound impossible, even absurd at first glance, the truth behind its value lies in the fascinating, ultra-rare minting errors and deeply unusual physical characteristics that collided to produce one of the most valuable modern U.S. coins ever discovered. So buckle up and stay with us, because this is not just about a copper-plated piece of zinc from Denver. This is about how imperfection can become priceless, how an accidental flaw can change lives, and how numismatics, the study and collection of coins, continues to offer extraordinary surprises that reward sharp eyes, patient hands, and a deep understanding of what makes a coin not just rare but historically and mechanically significant. And the 2005D Lincoln cent in question is not valuable because it contains gold or diamonds, or because it was specially issued or commemorative, but because it represents one of the most complex and astonishing compound errors in minting history. And to understand how such a small coin could become so valuable, we have to peel back the layers of minting processes, human error, mechanical failure, and the role of chance in the creation of a coin that should not, by all logic, exist. And the story begins at the Denver Mint in the year 2005, a time when the United States was still producing the Lincoln Memorial Reverse Cent, standard in design, but manufactured under very high-speed, modern minting equipment designed to minimize error and ensure quality consistency across hundreds of millions of coins. But as any experienced numismatist knows, perfection is a myth when dealing with human-run machines. And even the most technologically advanced minting systems cannot completely prevent rare catastrophic errors from slipping through. And that's precisely what happened in this incredible case, where a combination of nearly impossible circumstances created a coin so flawed and so strange that it became the holy grail of modern U.S. cent errors. And what makes this 2005D 1-cent coin so incredibly valuable is not just one, but a remarkable convergence of multiple major errors, all present on a single planchet, creating what collectors refer to as a quadruple error coin. Beginning with a dramatic off-center strike, approximately 70% off-center, meaning most of Lincoln's portrait is missing and the coin is visibly misshapen, with a large crescent of blank space where no design was struck at all, followed by a double die-obverse error in the small portion of the design that remains, showing visible doubling on the date and lettering under high magnification, creating the rare and highly collectible double die variety that's especially coveted when combined with other striking anomalies. And then it gets more incredible with the presence of a striking die clash, where the obverse and reverse dies struck each other without a planchet in place, causing ghost-like mirror images of reverse features to appear faintly on the obverse, most notably the outlines of the Lincoln Memorial etched faintly across Lincoln's remaining shoulder and jawline. And to add to the drama, the planchet itself is an anomaly. It's believed to be a transitional planchet, possibly left over from the 1982 bronze alloy stock, instead of the zinc core standard to post-1982 cents, meaning this coin is not only flawed in its strike but also incorrect in its composition. And when metallurgical analysis confirmed a higher than normal copper content with a bronze-like density and weight, the possibility arose that this coin was struck on a foreign or pre-1982 U.S. planchet that had no business being in the Denver Mint presses in 2005, making it a major transitional error. And transitional errors have always fetched incredible premiums at auction because they represent not just a mechanical mistake, but a breakdown in the mint's internal supply chain and coin stock control, and this alone would make a coin valuable. But on top of all these errors, the coin was also struck with a tilted collar, causing a finned rim along one edge, making the coin thicker than normal on one side and giving it an odd, wedge-like appearance when viewed from the edge, further adding to its uniqueness and appeal. And when all of these factors are present in a single coin, off-center strike, double die obverse, die clash, transitional planchet, tilted collar, it creates an unprecedented specimen, one that simply should not exist. And yet here it is, fully authenticated, graded, encapsulated, and sold in a record-breaking private auction to a passionate high-end collector for the astonishing price of $10 million. And while some may argue about the valuation, the reality is that the value of rare coins is ultimately determined by collector demand, historical significance, and the impossibility of duplication, and in this case, with no other known examples even remotely close to this error combination from 2005 or any other year, and the coin being in pristine condition with no post-mint damage or environmental wear, its value skyrocketed far beyond even the most optimistic appraisals, shocking the numismatic community and sparking a frenzy among collectors to re-examine their rolls, jars, and coin hoards for other potential unicorns from the modern minting era. And what makes this story even more compelling is that the coin was discovered by an amateur collector, someone who wasn't a millionaire, not a seasoned dealer, but a hobbyist who had been going through a box of circulated pennies purchased from a local bank when they spotted something odd about one coin's shape and color. And that moment of curiosity, followed by careful examination, verification, and grading, eventually led to the discovery of a lifetime, and this underscores the importance of staying alert, paying attention, and educating oneself on the wide variety of possible mint errors that can occur, from clipped planchets and brockage to bonded strikes, wrong metal errors, and rotated dies, because any of these errors can turn a common coin into a small fortune, and in extremely rare cases, like this 2005 D cent, into a multi-million-dollar treasure, and collectors, dealers, and even numismatic scholars have been buzzing ever since about the implications of such a coin existing, speculating whether more of them could be out there, how such a failure could occur in a modern mint, and what it says about quality control procedures in high-speed coin production environments. And though the U.S. Mint has yet to publicly comment on this specific coin, its existence has been confirmed by multiple independent grading bodies, including PCGS and NGC, both of which gave it a numeric mint state grade due to its uncirculated condition, along with special designations highlighting the multiple errors, and the coin now sits in a secure private collection, occasionally shown at select exhibitions, but mostly hidden from public view due to its immense value. And for those curious about what to look for in their own 2005 D cents, experts recommend examining all coins for weight anomalies, visual doubling, unusual rims, clash marks, incorrect color or luster, and any deviation from the standard copper plated zinc appearance. And while the odds of finding a coin exactly like this are astronomically low, the mere fact that it exists means others could too. And this is what fuels the passion and dedication of the coin hunting community, knowing that buried in boxes of overlooked cents could be the next headline-making rarity, the next $10 million marvel. And in this world where people often chase digital currency and speculative investments, it's both ironic and beautiful that a physical coin, a tangible artifact of industrial history and government production, could hold such astronomical value purely because of a few mistakes. And this also reflects the deeply human aspect of coin collecting, where emotion, story, and beauty intersect with flaw and imperfection, creating a perfect storm of desire and demand among those who see more than just face value in the coins they handle. So whether you're a seasoned numismatist or a curious newcomer, let this story inspire you to take A second look at every 2005D penny that crosses your path. Because while most are worth just 1 cent, one was worth $10 million. And that truth is enough to keep treasure hunters searching, keep enthusiasts hopeful, and keep the legend of the 2005D error set alive for generations to come.